Hey, this is Nat, and we're off our couch here in St. Augustine, Florida, the oldest city in America, founded back in 1565. And we're exploring one of the historic streets in this city, St. George Street. St. George Street is a pedestrian friendly street, once the main street of the city. It's adorned with boutiques, bistros, historical sites, restaurants, and gift shops. And we've been on George Street many times in other videos, but this time there are no repeats. We're checking out attractions, stores, and shops we've never been to before. And be sure to subscribe because we have future plans to explore other places for the first time in this city. I don't know about you all, but we sometimes get into the habit of just visiting our favorites, getting into a routine, but we're breaking the routine this video, starting with taking a real close look for the first time at the City Gate. The old city gate was built in 1808 to protect the city of St. Augustine. The entire city used to be surrounded by a wall called the Cubo Line to protect the Spanish from Americans, and the city gate was the only entrance into St. Augustine. The Cubo Line has deteriorated over time, but the old city gate, constructed from coquina, still stands. On each side of the gate are restored sections of the wall that once surrounded St. Augustine. Moving through the city gates puts us on St. George Street, and sometimes around St. Augustine, particularly on St. George Street, you can be a spectator to historical reenactments or saunters. We're here during a saunter where reenactors wear historically accurate clothing from the colonial period, the 16th, 17th, and 18th centuries. The events are free. Events are often listed on visitstaugustine.com. The link to that website will be in the description box, and you're encouraged to ask questions about the history of St. Augustine as well to the reenactors. I have some questions about the history of St. Augustine, like what was school like in the 1800s? And I have walked by the oldest wooden schoolhouse so many times, but today I'm going to receive an education about education in the 1800s. The oldest wooden schoolhouse is the oldest wooden school building in the United States, hence the name. This school was established to teach children from the Minorcan quarter. The Minorcans were refugees escaping a harsh indentured servitude in the New Smyrna colony. The students were taught reading, writing, and arithmetic. The last class was in 1864, and during their 67th class reunion, 9 students arranged the classroom as they remembered it so we could partake in the experience of the oldest wooden schoolhouse. Part of the experience today is how hot it is. Look at my hands, sweat is just dripping off of me, which makes sense. There was no air conditioning in the 1850s and 1860s. Actually, when I went to elementary school in North Carolina, not all of the school had air. I remember days when we went home early because it was so hot. Anyways, press the buzzer to see the student and the teacher come to life and tell you all about the experience of school in the 1800s. What I find interesting is that tuition was just 12.5 cents per week for the younger students and a quarter for the older students, which consisted of both boys and girls. And if you didn't have a quarter, you could barter with wood and other necessary items. What's also interesting is there is a chain on the house to keep it grounded during hurricanes. You can see the chain on both the inside and outside. There are many labeled artifacts to look at within the oldest wooden schoolhouse, and upstairs, which isn't open due to safety concerns with the steps, is the living quarters for the teacher and his family. The picture here in the mirror gives you a look of the upstairs, and underneath the stairs is the dungeon for misbehaving children. Look at that, I'm innocent. Outside, we get a look at the kitchen, which was built separately to reduce the amount of heat in the house because it's already hot enough, as I already said. And just in case the kitchen sets on fire, then you just lose your kitchen and not your whole house, and the school in this case. Taking a walk around the gardens now, which is framed by busts of famous educators. A bust of the founder of the wooden schoolhouse is in the middle of the garden, and you can continue to walk along the outside to see the other busts in the garden. The other busts are also teachers, famous teachers from different countries, and I'm taking a break from reading all of their accomplishments to watch this beautiful butterfly. And once my education is complete, I get to ring the bell. You know, I've heard this sound so many times before while walking St. George Street and didn't know what it was, but now I know. And I have my diploma. Yay, I graduated. And I'm in the gift shop picking out my reward for graduating and experiencing something new here on St. George Street. This gift shop is awesome though. There are toys and souvenirs and some really great gift ideas for teachers. So our next stop on St. George Street is the Arcade of Professional Artisans and Craftsmen. When we were on the Old Town Trolley Tour a few videos back, I'll put the link to that video in the description box if you missed it. Our trolley operator and tour guide stated that St. George Street is considered the shopping center of St. Augustine and has over 400 shops, bars, restaurants, distilleries, bakeries, and boutiques. And I remember thinking, really? 400? But as we start moving more into the different corners and alleys of St. George Street, the number is starting to make more sense. We're browsing the Arcade of Professional Artisans and Craftsmen, and there are quite a few shops tucked into this corner here. Lots of interesting, eye-catching work for sale. And we actually had the opportunity to speak with one of the artists, John W. Brown, owner of Fine Art Photography by John W. Brown. John W. Brown, an artist by nature and a photographer by trade as he describes himself, developed and utilizes a technique he refers to as digital impressionism, a technique that fuses photography with painting, digital imaging, and printmaking. Prints can be purchased online as well at spiritofnewburyport.com. We also have the website link listed in the description box. You can also see Mr. Brown's work in the premiere issue of Loving Our Town, St. Augustine. The link to the magazine will also be in the description box. If you enjoy photography and love art, these lovely prints will definitely catch your attention. Our next stop is to grab some food, and that immerses us into even more history. The Salcedo House and Kitchen is now Westone Chocolate of St. Augustine and the Spanish Bakery and Cafe, respectively. The Salcedo House is named after one of its owners, Pedro Josef de Salcedo, a captain of artillery at the Fort Castillo de San Marcos. In addition, the nation's first black general also lived in this home. As a Spanish general, he was the second highest paid official in Florida. He commanded the Free Black Militia that guarded Fort Matanzas, a fort we visited just a few weeks ago, and the video link is listed in the description box. During the excavation, the foundation of both the home and kitchen were found, and then the buildings were reconstructed. So onto the kitchen first, the Spanish Bakery and Cafe. The Spanish Bakery and Cafe serves empanadas, sandwiches, soups, and other delicious lunch and dinner options made fresh daily. We are having a beef empanada with a side of black beans and rice at $8.95. This is filling, it's hearty, it's delicious, and we're slathering on a layer of the Minorcan dill pepper hot sauce too. It adds a flavorful and spicy kick to the meal. London, who uses hot sauce like it's ketchup, loves it and is picking up a bottle to enjoy at home. A bottle of Minorcan dill pepper hot sauce is $5.75. The side is tasty too. Can't go wrong with black beans and rice. And let's take a look at the desserts. There are cookies, scones, cinnamon rolls, and turnovers. The kids decided on the turnovers. My daughter has a cherry turnover and my son has a caramel apple turnover. They are $3.50 a piece. And when you're picking out a dessert, this is the size that I love to see. Plenty to indulge in and enjoy. And share if you feel generous or already stuffed from lunch. I didn't get a piece of my son's caramel apple turnover. He devoured it and just reported back to me about how good it tastes and how much he loved the flakiness and apple flavor. I did get a taste of my daughter's cherry turnover though. Flaky, buttery, sweet, free-flowing layers of cherry filling, delicious. As I said, I only got a taste so I can guiltlessly head over to the Salcedo House, which houses Westone Chocolate for dessert. It is hard to believe this is my first visit to Westone's Chocolate when I consider how much I adore chocolate, and the Westones have been creating chocolate here in St. Augustine since 1967. Westone's chocolates focus on quality ingredients, granule fineness, flavor, color, and other characteristics are heavily considered when choosing the chocolate that is used in the selection that I am gaping at in the display case. This type of decision making is hard and easy at the same time. Hard because I want to try everything, and easy because I have a feeling I'll love everything. So knowing I can try more next time, I'm going with the amaretto truffles and dark chocolate and the rum truffles and milk chocolate. The chocolate is $36 a pound, so you pay by the weight for how many truffles you purchase. I also have a chunk of vanilla caramel pecan to share with London. It's $4.95. And the kids are requesting milk chocolate gator pops priced at $4 each. And I was right, I love it all. The truffles are just dreamy. My favorite is the amaretto truffle and dark chocolate, but I also love the filling of the rum truffle. Oh, it's so good. The kids love the gator pops. The look and taste are both incredibly pleasing. And this fudge, oh, wow. They have a special right now. Buy 4, get the 5th piece of fudge free. And if I had known and tasted then what I know and am enjoying now, I would have walked out with a whole box of fudge. It is so good. I want more. I'm having a hard time just sharing this with London. Can't wait to come back and try more. And they also have gelato. Plus, they offer tasting tours at their King Street location. Needless to say, we'll be checking that out soon in an upcoming video. If you've already been on a tasting tour, let us know about it, please, in the comments. On to our next stop on St. George Street, St. Photios National Greek Orthodox Shrine. There is no entrance fee to enter this beautiful sacred shrine, and the story of the shrine is actually related to the oldest wooden schoolhouse we visited earlier. The founder of the oldest wooden schoolhouse was a Minorcan and one of the indentured servants who sought refuge in St. Augustine. These refugees found a home and solace in St. Augustine and worship here at the Alvaro House. It is now a shrine dedicated to the Minorcans, the Greeks who arrived in St. Augustine and formed the first permanent settlement of Greeks on this continent. Walking through the shrine and exploring the exhibits will allow the opportunity to learn about the life of early Greeks in America, the development of the Greek Orthodox Church in America, and St. Photius Chapel. Visitors often reflect and meditate in silence in this chapel, adorned with Byzantine sacred icons on the wall and above. I find it fascinating how we just continue to explore on St. George Street and learn more about this story and this time in history. On another day, we continued our trek down George Street and stopped in at Teddy's, the oldest ice cream shop in St. Augustine. So the Westones, the founders of Westone Chocolate, where we were earlier, actually started here in an ice cream shop in 1966. This is the Westones' first business. Teddy serves waffle cones made daily along with their homemade ice cream and other treats. The kids are each getting a scoop of ice cream at $4.95. My daughter is choosing Superman and my son is struggling. He wants to try something new and his staff is just so patient. My daughter went with London to eat her ice cream. There was a risk of it melting waiting for my son's final answer, which is finally in, blueberry cheesecake. He took his time and he is happy with his choice. All's well that ends well. Okay, one last stop for us on St. George Street. This store opened over a year ago and we're just now stopping in. We're in Prehistoric. So if St. Augustine isn't old enough for you, if going back to 1565 doesn't satisfy your need for history, then this store will take you way, way, way back. Prehistoric St. Augustine is a place to discover and collect fossils, minerals, meteorites, and more. I see a lot of marvelous pieces that would be a pleasure to own and showcase in my house. Some really great conversation pieces. There's a kids section too, where your kids are guaranteed to find something they want to take home too. And that is it for us. That is our walk down a portion of historic St. George Street. I hope we showed you something different, something you'll find worthy of exploring and trying on your next visit to St. Augustine. If so, hit the like button. Definitely let us know. And feel free to elaborate in the comments. Tell us what you like. What do you want to try? What do you recommend for us to try? We always appreciate your suggestions and recommendations. Thanks so much for your feedback. Thanks so much for getting off the couch with us again and joining us on our very own saunter down historic St. George Street. Next video, we plan to be at Legoland for Brick or Treat. This is Legoland Florida's Halloween event, and yes, it's that time of the year again. Time for some not so spooky and sweet calorie-laden fun. So be sure to subscribe. Join us next week. Until then, click on the video to see another one of our experiences. Thanks for watching.